Okay, I think we are live. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I usually greet the viewers of this channel like this whenever there's a video, and I feel extremely thrilled to be conducting this session. To be honest, it always was a dream to make this platform a place wherein the B schools could get connected with the students, and I am super grateful to the entire team of NMIMS to give us this opportunity to hear what happens on the other side of the table, or I would say on the other side of the campus. Today we have a lot of esteemed guests with us from a very prestigious institute. Narsi Monji Institute of Management Studies has been a top institute for management studies in India, and I believe there could be no better time to be conducting this session when especially there's been a recent development that Financial Times has declared that NMIMS SPM has ranked 83. Last year it was 96, so that's a huge leap by 13 points. And I would really like to congratulate the entire team for the same. You would definitely be asking a question around that, but before that, I would just like the audience to confirm once in the chat box if they can see us, if they can hear us. I would also request the members here to just say a hi to each and every one of them so that they can confirm if they can see you and hear you.
Hello, hi.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, so I would like to introduce each and every one of you first before we begin this session. So we have Dr. Chandrima, who is the Associate Dean of NMIMS Mumbai campus. The next guest we have is Dr. Narayani, who is the Deputy Director of NMIMS Bengaluru campus. Then we have Dr. Shubhashish, who is the Director of Navi Mumbai campus. Dr. Anshuman, who is the Director of the Indore campus, and Dr. Siddharth, who's the Director of the Hyderabad campus. Thank you so much to each and every one of you for joining us here today in this live session. To be honest, the students have a lot of questions around how they should be prepared for NMIMS. NMIMS being a great institute, the biggest question that they have is how is it ranking so well year on year? And Dr. Chandrima, this is a question I would really like to start off with and would request you to answer this question, especially in regards to the recent development. What exactly is SPM NMIMS doing in order to ensure that it remains the top institute in India in the management space?
Right. Thank you so much, Shweta, for that question. I'm sure the students are making a note of it. So yeah, I would want to begin by saying that, we had been doing what we have been doing religiously for the last 40 plus years. And we have only got better with what we have done. 40 years plus, why I highlighted that was, that's precisely where it all gets the strength for us from. So if you look at our alumni network, that's something that is really very, very strong and brings in a lot of what do I say, strength to us, in a sense that we know we have so many people out of our institute out there in the corporate world who are sort of coming back to us with a lot of support, carrying our flag high there. So that's number one. Now, number two, what makes them carry our flag higher is, of course, what we have, sowed as seeds in the 2 years that they are with us, the curriculum that we took us through, the knowledge, the skill sets, habits, attitudes. That's something that we really focus big time at NMIMS, is what we have taken them through in the 2 years, and which I guess they have solidly carried forward with them in their years in the corporate world. So I'm talking both about the fresh graduates as well as our alumni who are by now veterans in the corporate space. And I think a testament to what I said, a testimony to all of that I said, is in the kind of rankings that we get. Of course, you have been talking about the recent development. Of course, the FT ranking, where we have done so well, and then the results were just out about a week back. So, the parameters where we have really done well, speaks for the kind of work that we were doing. So, we were first Second and third, really, in those rankings, I mean, they have various parameters on which, these ranking agency ranks us. And we did outstandingly well on career progression. And that's exactly the point that I want to, I use this as a support to the point that I just mentioned. We do what we do with them in the 2 years, or they do what they do here in the 2 years. But what they take it away from us out of this 2 years of being with us, I think is what is making the difference and what is it that we are doing differently. So we did so well in career progression. We did exceedingly well in the salary percentage increase. And then, we have the career service rank. So these are, if you see all the rankings where we have made significant progress, from the time we entered into the ranking, it clearly speaks about the kind of readiness, industry readiness that our students have. So I would want to leave it at that, and maybe I'll come around later if there are further questions on this. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much, ma'am. While I was listening to your answer, I also noticed that there are a lot of chat comments wherein people are saying that my voice was echoing. I'm truly sorry, guys, if that was the case. Could you confirm if you're still not able to hear me properly? In that case, I'll just change my audio input. I'm really sorry. I just don't want them to miss out on anything important. We'll just wait for them to confirm if there are any audio issues. Guys, could you just confirm if my voice is still echoing? In that case, we'll just correct that issue.
Maybe we can also go on mute if required, the people who are not speaking. So that might help.
Oh, it's still echoing. Okay, I have just changed my audio input. Can you guys now confirm if you're able to hear me or still not? Okay, it's good now. Can you guys type yes if it's good now? You guys can do at least this much in case you want to know about NMIMS. Okay, some are saying yes, some are saying it's still not. Rashna, could you confirm if you're able to hear or is it still echoing at my end? Meanwhile, I'll at least ask the next question so that the directors are not waiting. And okay, another input for you guys is that this session will be for 60 minutes, so we'll keep it crisp and try to ensure that we cover every campus. My next question would be for Dr. Narayani. If you could walk us through Bengaluru campus and share the different aspects or the unique aspects of the Bengaluru campus, then that will really help the students also understand the perspective about that particular campus.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Shweta, for asking this question. Let me give you the glimpses of NMIMS Bengaluru campus in a brief nutshell. Overall, to whatever points described by Dr. Chandrima, when it comes to the NMIMS MBA quality, we had the legacy of the 40 years. NMIMS Bengaluru campus, having graduated 13 batches, we have a stellar placement record, and we have this diversity in terms of the students and diversity in terms of recruiters from different industry sectors, right? So if you would like me to talk about the highlights of the program, we can talk about the curriculum, which they get to see from our website details, and how the curriculum and the pedagogy is being used in the campus. That brings a difference to NMIMS Bengaluru campus. For example, you would get to see, according to the curriculum, we recruit the faculty members both from industry and academia, and we have the advantage of some of the achieved alumni coming back to the campus and taking up the teaching assignments. For example, being in Bangalore, we have the locational advantage, and quite a few of your senior alumni students, not only Bengaluru alumni, but also Mumbai alumni students, they used to come and handle classes for us. That brings a very strong alumni connect. That is one of the speciality about NMIMS Bengaluru campus. And talk about the second part that I would like to talk about is about the experiential learning that they get it in the campus. For example, in our MBA curriculum in one NMIMS, we have business simulation software, which is a capstone project. Because of the competitiveness prevailing in the campus, and students have been sharpened so much that they could reach the global ranking. And let me move on to the peer learning. MBA program is not only about learning in the classroom, but also in the field. We have a lot of aspects which covers the experiential learning in the curriculum. Over and above that, the students do a lot of peer learning from each other. The diversity of the student group enables this. I can give you one glimpse about it. We have conducted some of the programs, peer learning programs, as a immersion leadership programs, along with students from University of Dundee, University of Brunel, University of Bristol. Here, what happens is when they go to an international organizations or a corporate culture, they get to work with people not only from India but across the globe. So when they have that kind of experience through either student exchange programs or the students are coming to India and they work on a particular projects, this cross-cultural diversity and the ability to work with different challenges, not only corporate houses facing, but also societies facing. That helps the students. This is a different experience they'll get it in Bengaluru campus.
This is actually pretty amazing to hear. I wish I get invited back to my institute in order to share something or contribute. That would be super amazing. So I'm sure the Bengaluru campus is benefiting from that. Dr. Anshuman, would you like to take it ahead and share with all of us how is the scene at the Indore campus?
Oh, thank you very much, Shweta. So, there are two parts to doing an MBA at one of the non-Mumbai campuses. So our curriculum, just to emphasize, is going to be the same across, right? We have multi-campus coordination. So unlike any other business school or university that I know of, across campuses, we are teaching the same curriculum with the same pedagogy. So if you're learning a case on a particular day in Mumbai or Bengaluru, you're also learning it that day or maybe later the day after in Indore. So there is no difference there. We try to ensure we are maintaining the same standards. We have standardization, right? So across the board, you will be getting the same quality. That is very important because in most of the places, you would not get that across campuses. So that is the first thing that we emphasize. And therefore, I would not say that I'm any different from any other campus because the very idea is that we teach them in exactly the same way and we coordinate with faculty across campus. So that is something which is, similar across. Where we are different, of course, is, so Indore is basically the business capital of this particular region of central India. Culturally, it is very unique, very distinct. All of you would know that this city takes pride in being the cleanest city, for example. So whenever you talk to the people out here, they have a lot of pride in things like that. It is also a food capital. So generally, if you do come to Indore, the feel that you get is you have people who are really interested in business, but you also have people who are very happy and very proud of the region they are in, including culturally, right? If you talk about the campus itself, again, I actually myself happen to be an alumnus of the 2001 batch of NMIMS in the MBA, right? So we have a lot of interaction with our alumni. That is something we really emphasize on. So yesterday we had people from other cities coming over for guest lectures. Tomorrow, because of, we had Engineers Day recently, our Turing Club is organizing an event where we'll be talking about artificial intelligence, data analytics, and so on. So we regularly have events in which people come from other cities. We have a lecture, we have a guest lecture on 20th, where somebody is coming who is actually an alumnus of the NUS Singapore, world's one of the world's leading business schools. He's coming over for a guest lecture. So our emphasis is on ensuring that you have continuous learning, not just in the classroom, which is, as I said, standardized, but also beyond that. So we get experts from all walks of life. Similarly, we also try to blend in that with our curriculum. So right now, the mandate from my side to every faculty is that a few guest lectures should be there in every course where we're inviting people from outside the campus to give an industry perspective, to give a perspective from other schools, because we always learning, right? In India, IIMs and IITs among the top schools. So if we get a faculty to about a particular subject, that will always be useful for our students. So that way we also try to interact with other faculty, not just external experts in the industry. Beyond that, we have excellent facilities in the campus. So we have one of the best campuses in terms of, for example, infrastructure. We have our own hostels, right? We are refurbishing our ground, so we'll have facilities for cricket, volleyball, basketball, football. We'll have a running track inside the campus. We are very close to the airport, so for students, more than half of students are from outside. So from students from other cities, we are just 10 minutes from the airport. So that also helps when you are coming to study and you want to get home during the break, right? That also is a factor. So things like that. So that way, I think it's a wonderful, beautiful city to be a part of. But of course, our emphasis is to take all of that and combine it with the NMIMS brand to offer the highest quality of education possible. And as you've mentioned from the FT 100 rankings and other rankings, it's education which is respected worldwide today. So we have this history, but we are going places in these few years that we have seen after the lockdown as well. Thank you.
I think I don't know if I heard properly after food that you mentioned in Indore, me being a foodie. Just kidding. I'm sure that Indore is definitely a great place to study at. Dr. Siddharth.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. We would like to welcome you here at some time, Please make a visit to Indore.
Sure, sir.
Along with the students, of course. Our doors are always open. Thank you.
Dr. Siddharth, would you like to say something about the Hyderabad campus?
Thank you, Shweta. And again, very happy to see you all here on a Sunday, 8 p.m. And we are all here to give the answers to the different queries and ideas and thoughts about different campuses. The first point, of course, that all the 5 campuses, we are following one MBA program, which is guided and led by Professor Chandrima and team at Mumbai. So that's having the 40 years of legacy. And we are just extending it in other cities, so that we will not be telling someone no, that we don't have more seats, we cannot accommodate you. So we give that additional space. Earlier, when we used to tell students no, today through Hyderabad, Indore and Bangalore campus, we are telling you are welcome to a family. Going ahead, while we tell one MBA, but there is not much difference in the program, in the course curriculum, in the exam pattern, in the common calendar. But something I need to tell about Hyderabad and why someone should choose Hyderabad. Number one, this is the IT capital as of today in India. So we get a lot of focus from industry. Even our last year highest package in the campus for MBA came from IT industry. And today, when we look forward, there are 2 buzzwords there in the industry. One is that product management, and another is artificial intelligence. So our highest package came in the product management area from the IT sector, and we are getting more queries from the industry, and we want to go ahead with that legacy because we have the advantage of being the top IT city in India. And second is artificial intelligence. The journey also started, and that is led by me, because for last 15 years I practice artificial intelligence and machine learning. And with my B School staff members, we are trying to do a lot of activities in the field of AI, and I personally take a lot of sessions in AI, how AI and management can club together and do some work. So someone choosing these 2 parts, Hyderabad can be a good campus for that. The second thing I will tell them, if you are thinking that from the city hubs, today you are looking for a proper learning space where 100 acres land and a proper stay in hostel where you can go out for jogging and learn from your friends. At evening, you can sit together under a tree and you want to learn. Hyderabad can be a campus because it's splash 100 acres campus, and we are very much what you can call eco-friendly and sustainable campus today, because inside the campus we run only EVs. We have the electrical vehicles, so when the buzzwords is going on in the market, we are using it. And in some of the recent interviews from industry to the B School guys, it was asked, what is your concept in sustainable state or eco-friendly world? Our students told that we are practicing at Hyderabad campus. So IT, product management, 100 acres campus, eco-friendly and sustainable environment. And finally, of course, I need to tell our faculty members drawn for across the India. We have faculty from Kashmir, we have faculty from Tamil Nadu. And last 2 years statistics says that we have students from 25 states of India today. So it's a mini India we have created at Hyderabad. I request students to come and explore it along with us. We are just 45 minutes away from Hyderabad airport. Thank you, Shweta.
Dr. Anshuman, I must say that Dr. Siddharth
You are
has
mute,
now.
I think.
Yeah, I was saying that Dr. Anshuman, Dr. Siddharth has now convinced me
You are not audible, Shweta.
Am I audible now? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dr. Anshuman, I was saying Dr. Siddharth has now convinced me to go to Hyderabad, so I may not be coming to Indore now.
You can always come via Indore. Don't worry.
Dr. Shubhashish, would you like to help us, help us share something about Navi Mumbai campus?
Great. So thank you. My colleagues, the directors have covered most of the points. We have in NMIMS system, we have standard curriculum. All the campuses are having the same curriculum. So you will not find much of difference in terms of syllabus, in terms of curriculum, pedagogy, etc. The difference in the campus would be how the students are creating the ecosystem and making the difference. And that is what is very critical. We have been having in Navi Mumbai campus, very disciplined student, doing very well, having all the opportunities for learning. We can provide all the opportunities for learning from university side, institute side, and it is left on the students how much they can take it. And they take it very well. And this is what for aspiring students, I would like to convey that a lot of opportunities are there. Just come and see how much you can grab out of it. Because your 2 years time for MBA program is going to determine your next 40 to 50 years of your quality of life. So that is what is very important. And we have very good placement. Institution is having a very good infrastructure. For last 6 to 7 years, we are running this institute here. So in terms of sports facilities, in terms of hostel facilities, in terms of classrooms, the labs, etc., very good facilities. So you will get all the opportunities here for learning. You will also get hills to see staying in Mumbai, because in Navi Mumbai you will find some hills to see, which is otherwise difficult to even think of. We being in Mumbai, you all know that most of the companies, Fortune 500 companies and all, MNCs, etc., they have headquarters here. So that's an advantage, extra advantage of the location. And most of the other things which are common for all other campuses have already been covered. So I would stop here for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the input, sir. Dr. Chandrima, I have a very, very important question to ask you. Since the NMIMS admission is central in nature, this is a question that I would want you to answer on behalf of all the directors here. Students are very, very keen to understand what NMIMS is exactly looking for. So if I was to ask you, what is the definition of an ideal candidate whom you would want to enroll in the MBA program at NMIMS, any of the campuses, what would the qualities be like? What would that individual look like?
Sure. Thanks for that question, Shweta. And I think the students really need to know that to begin with, there is nothing like an ideal. Just like, where we are getting students ready for the business world, there is nothing like an ideal business world. A dynamic business world for which we should be ready with all kind of solutions. I think it's the same thing for students. We don't look for anything ideal. When we meet somebody who has, with his due eligibility, finally made it to the stage of interview, where we actually get to meet the students in person. Yeah, so we go very unbiased. We go without any, preconceived idea or opinion about the student when we have read the student's application. We go with an open mind, just to understand, how would the student look like when he or she is seated in the classroom. So it's more from that direction that we start talking to them. And our students must be knowing, or, I'm sure there is some forum where they exchange also, inputs from people who have graduated from this institute or maybe some other MBA institute, because the admission procedure is mostly similar. So apart from faculties who interview students to gauge, how would they fit into the classroom, there are also our industry partners and alumni who are part of the interview panel. So while maybe, the faculties are gauging them from the point of view of how their fitment is in the classroom, the alumni, the industry partners, they are looking at their, scalability 2 years down the line, and also, how they would fit into the kind of corporate world. Because what we do in the 2 years that we have with the students is, we sort of create a simulated business world. And we are grooming them in that simulatory environment. Now, coming to, if there is nothing ideal, what exactly are we looking for to understand when we are talking to the students? So, A is we try and look at what is the kind of value that the student can bring to the table. Because see, MBA education, and unlike undergrad, it's not about, where the students come and learn from the faculties or from whoever the course is delivering the course or delivering the curriculum. MBA learning is more to do with, learning, peer learning from faculties, learning from industries, experiential learning, which Dr. Nareni mentioned. So in that sense, trying to get students who bring in diverse ideas, diverse perspectives, and fits into the classroom in the sense that they can bring value. And when I say bring value, I should not be mistaken that I want to say that only students, aspiring students with work experience can bring value to the table. Even a fresher can bring in a lot of value to the table. Their fresh perspectives and also the kind of academic background that they are coming to us from. So what we typically look is a diverse classroom. And when I say a diverse classroom, once upon a time, a classroom in NMIMS would have 95 to 99% engineers. Today, we are consciously at 65% engineers. So what we are trying to say is let the classroom environment look just as diverse as the real world and the real business world would look like. That's number one. So then, when you have a diverse, it is only obvious that people with work ex will come in, freshers will come in, people with longer work ex, people with shorter number of years of work ex, all in different roles that they have been in. So typically that is what we would do. We would love to have people with English honors possible. If he or she has made it to the interview round by cracking the NMAT, and we are extremely happy to have that person in the classroom, provided the student shows that he or she is able to get value for us and will fit into the classroom. So that's typically what we look at. So I finish by saying that there is nothing ideal. How you convince us during the interview round and tell us that you are the kind of student who will get a lot of value to your peers, to the institute, to the brand name NMIMS, you are the ideal. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Chandrima, for this. I have a small follow-up here, which was also asked by a lot of students. This term is called as past sins by them, which is, let's say that in case they have average academic marks in 10th or 12th, somehow they have some gap years because of some mishap or something. In that case, would they still be considered an ideal candidate if they perform well during the interviews?
Sure. Thanks for that question, Shweta. It's just a small correction. I said nothing ideal. Okay, as a precondition. So coming to then, what exactly would it mean if a student has not done done very well academically, as well as maybe they have a gap year? So let me tell you, the final coming to the classroom in any of the campuses in NMIMS is a final outcome of a couple of parameters or couple of, what do I tell you? A couple of variables that we look at. A, their NMAT score. Okay. B, their academic background. C, their work experience. And of course, in between, there is a test which we call the Watson-Glaser test, which sort of, test them on their psychology and all sort of, those behavioral parameters. So, and NMAT itself has a huge weightage. So if somebody has done well in the NMAT, irrespective of their back year or back year in the sense their break year, I'm sorry, and irrespective of whether they have not done well or not done so well, I don't think it really matters there. That's number one. Number two, if you have done exceedingly well in your personal interview, which also has a weightage, that sort of takes you quite ahead of others. Third, if you have a work X. So work X, and if you can really convince us that with the number of years that you have worked, along with the kind of value that number of years of work has sort of given you, and that you can get to us, I don't think your academic background, good, bad, ugly, will really make a big difference until and unless it's like really, really ugly. So I'm sure we students are not even. I don't think they're talking to those students anyways, and I'm sure if that question has come for an MBA program, I'm sure what we are talking about. And the last thing which I want to say is you might have a break here. We don't penalize you for that until and unless you can't convince us that what the break year is meant for. So if you can tell us that what the break year was, and the answer could be, very often we get this answer that I was preparing for MBA. Of course we have counter questions to that. And we ask them, if you have taken a break year to crack an MBA entrance, how will you manage the pressure of 2 years? I'm giving away that question also, typically we ask. But that doesn't go against the student. We just try to understand, how the student is, sort of answering this question. What is the kind of presence of mind? How convincing is he sounding? So all of that, I don't think a break here will really go against them. And to sum up, even your academic performance, if it's not too great, guys, no worries. Do well in NMAT, do well in your personal interview. Convince us that you can get a lot of value to us from the work experience that you have. Thanks, Shweta.
Thank you, Dr. Chandrima. There's another term we use with MBA aspirants, with regards to MBA aspirants, and any of the directors, if you have any input to add here, please feel free. This term is called profile building, wherein we talk about things like internships. You mentioned work experience, but for freshers it's mostly internships. Then there are online courses, there are extracurricular activities. How much do you think these activities or these different buckets in their CV hold value during an interview when they're trying to prove that they can bring in value? So how important are these?
Okay, so if I can take this is very important actually, and companies typically look for, because I have work experience in the industry also and in academics also. Based on that, I can say that companies would look forward to the value actually which is useful for them. Okay, so if the student has done some extra like project, summer internship they have done, they will ask some questions connected to summer internship. They will probe that what is the learning that you have got out of it. So definitely extra courses, right, certifications and all, if that is actually useful for the company, that is going to have value for the company. Now, one company can have value out of one particular certification courses. This may not stand good for another company. It may not be bringing, say, direct value to the company, but the company will get to know that this student is having an aptitude and attitude for learning and putting in effort even beyond the regular classroom syllabus, putting in effort to learn more. So that the learning attitude is going to get captured by the company. That is going. Another thing I would like to say is build the brand, your personal brand. I would like to say to the aspirant students that build your personal brand also. How do you build that personal brand? We can talk more on this because one is explicit and another is implicit. A kind of inputs that you can bring in the CVs that you prepare. Explicit is that these are the certification courses which are mentioned there, documented there, right? When we talk about build your personal brand, which will get reflected when the companies are asking questions to you. How you answer, what are the values that Dr. Chandrima has said. Values of the individual will also get reflected. Your honesty, your integrity, those kind of questions. Those are also important when you are bringing a holistic CV that you are. So in holistic CV is like this. One is what one person can see, what is documented is mentioned. Another is the person can only find out while interviewing. This is what I would have to say about building your CVs.
If I can add to that.
One point here, Sweta,
Yeah,
that
no, listen.
in addition with Professor Bhattacharya, and then we'll get back to Anshuman. Many a time students keep on asking us that I'm joining a B school program, any B school, and it's a 2 years program. Then why you are expecting so much of preparedness from me? I have cleared my test, I have given my interview, I am there, I have taken admission. One thing we just need to remind them that within their first semester, which is just because we are in a trimester course, so in a year you have 3 semesters. After the first semester itself, that means you have only 90 days window period by which you need to get ready to face the first interviews in September, October for your summer internship, which is going to happen in April, May, which is fixed in the calendar. You don't have much time in those 90 days of period to go back and do a lot of courses, do some internship. You get all these things before your final placement, which will be after 1 year. But for the internship selection, when you come to us, we expect that you have some internship experience, you have already a learning capacity, and in your bucket there are mixed different kind of learning experiences with you. So even taking Professor Chandrima's point that when you tell about that gap, if any gap, they should be clearly saying that I was learning something and this is a course I have done in that period. There might be a family issue, there might be a health issue, many things might be there. So they should tell us very clearly that their learning phase was on. That should not be ever. We need a personal brain who are constant learners. Let it be a slow learner or learning phase that should be there. And that helps a lot to them to move forward for their summer internship interview. And we need to tell them the industry looking for the candidates who goes for the summer internship in April, May. Many of them get a direct pre-placement offer, which we call as a PPO, and they can escape their final interview process. And all these things possible provided you come with a proper bucket ready with you, which shows your learning capacity. Over to Anshuman.
Yeah, thank you. So, a couple of years ago, I got a LinkedIn invite, right? I'm relatively active on LinkedIn, so I got a LinkedIn invite. So this person happened to be a president of this, a CEO of that, and looked like a leadership role. And I kept going through the profile because I had never come across them before. So I kept going through and trying to find out who this person is. After about 8 to 10 different qualifications and expertise, I realized it happened to be a first year BBA student of mine. Okay. So this generation does not need to know what kind of qualifications or things to add to the profile, right? Sometimes some are real and true, some maybe are not. So my advice to all the students is, think about what are the best things that you would like to put forward in a 10-minute stress interview about you, okay? So only, as Siddharth said, you have to be real, you have to be true and honest to yourself and to the other person. And always remember, because I trained students for GDPIs, for CAT, GRE, GMAT and all that. Always remember, when you talk about being good at something, it could be dance or music, it could be sports, it could be anything. I'm not even talking about AI and, data science or whatever. When you talk about something like that, you should be able to talk about that thing for a few minutes at a go, at a stretch, plus also be able to answer questions about that. Because remember, you're not the only person in extracurriculars. Your interviewers would also have good knowledge of extracurriculars, sports, etc. If you say something, you should be able to answer questions about it. If you feel you cannot answer 3 or 4 different layers of questions, do not get into the topic. Do not claim it to be your expertise. Put it at the back of your CV or take it out altogether, right? Focus on what you believe you have to offer as an individual, the main things, the best things, and then try to put that in your profile, in your CV. When you say, the first question is, tell us about yourself. That is where all of those important things about you should come forward, right? If you're good at makeup, right? Normally people will say no, but that is also a good profession. If you are, whatever you're good at these days, because so many different avenues are there for this generation which did not exist before. The students today, my MBA students, are much more well-rounded. today, at a day's notice, they can set up a concert, for example, or a sports event. I'm not talking about academics, which is what our generation was also good at. But having that capability, you should be sure what you're really, really good at and then try to push that through the interview. Instead of talking about every, small thing, any little certification you might have got, which might not be relevant to the discussion. Okay? So you go on, Narendra. Yeah.
Thank you, Ashwan. Just close, Sweta, just to close the conversation on this particular topic, 2 points I would like to bring it. Number one is authenticity. They're not my 2 cents would be, don't build a CV for the sake of building the CV. Anything and everything that comes your way, don't do one certification, one life projects or this one or something. Do it with authenticity. Don't bulge out your CV just for the sake of doing it. That will not work. Authenticity will be checked at the premier institutions like NMIMS. Okay, this is one point. Second, it's not the quantity matters, it's the quality matters. As Dr. Anshuman pointed out, you should be able to, even if you're pursuing a hobby, seriously, you don't have any other co-curricular activities, hobby should be authentic. That's point number one. Point number two that I would like to suggest is, even if you're a fresh graduate, you got wonderful scores, you convinced us, walked into NMIMS, you don't have any other hobby or extracurricular activities, don't worry. We have internship. Over and about that, we have offered a lot of life projects. For example, last year, 43 life projects have been done by fresh graduates. Because the alumni network, what Dr. Chandriba was talking about, that helps them to get the life projects, which is 8 weeks to 2 weeks round. And over and above the summer internship, they get the opportunity across campuses. So I think the pressure should not be too much on building the CV. Do authentic. Your intention will be very well checked by so many means when you are getting an admission to NMIMS. Let me close.
Yeah. Shweta, I would just sort of add one point. Of course, whatever my colleagues from the other campuses have said, that's absolutely what it is. Only one point which I would want to say, particularly for the freshers. When you're coming for the interview, guys, everybody emphasized on being authentic, being real, and putting the best foot forward with a lot of emphasis on quality. The last thing is, guys, because you're freshers, we will ask you questions on your domain knowledge. So please brush up everything from your undergrad. You can't help but have questions from there. Yeah, so that's one thing, because we have seen you have wonderful grades, but when it comes to asking questions, that's where, and that's something, it's a big weightage there, right, for a fresher, because you may not have work ethics, you may not have extracurricular, but domain knowledge is something that's a given that you must have. So that's a suggestion, that they should really brush up everything that they have done at their undergrad. Yeah.
Thank you so much to all of you. Like, I can't even emphasize how important this information was. No matter how many people tell these guys that these are the important points, when it comes from the horse's mouth, that's when they're going to actually believe it. So thank you so much for putting across these points. Dr. Chandrima, I have this important question regarding placements, which was asked by a couple of people. Even right now, I can see a lot of comments in the chat box wherein they're asking that in a lot of places it's claimed that NMIMS, in fact all the NMIMS campuses have 100% placement. Is that true? And would really like each and every one of you to share some glimpses of placements at your individual respective campuses.
Yeah, sure, Shweta. Thank you for that question, and it's a very, very pertinent question for aspiring. Let me tell you, we strictly stay away from this word 100%, because I think that's a given. If you are coming to NMIMS, you walk away with a good placement, and more than, our brand gets those recruiters, our alumni network gets those recruiters. But I guess, the kind of students that we finally have in the classroom, the kind of rigor that they go through in the 2 years, is what ensures that they all graduate with flying colors and with wonderful placements. So I think it's almost like a byproduct of what we are doing on a regular basis. Now, coming to how have we managed this? That's an important question, I guess. Yeah, as I said, our alumni network, our recruiters, that's number one. Number two, a major part of our placement happens through what one of my colleagues was mentioning a little while back, pre-placement offers. So when our students go for summer internship, and this has been year after year, their performance has been appreciated by one and all. The industry has very high regards for our students who go for summer internship. And half of the batch gets placed through those PPOs, right? PPOs, and of course PPIs, which is pre-placement interview, which after which the offer comes. So this is the route of the summer placement, which is a route to getting final placement. Number two, if you really go and ask, I'm sure our students are hearing me, I can't get to see them, but I'm sure they are hearing me. Guys, please go and check the, the fantastic is an understatement, the kind of achievement that students have in case competitions. There is this unstopped business, business cases that we have. Out of 10 last year, we had 4 out of top 10 winners all over India. A lot of our placement happens through case competitions. Right? In fact, students often have a student often has two offers. One which is through case competition, one which is through pre-placement offers. Yeah. So that's it. And finally, then we have the final placement also. So say a student did not get a conversion into a PPO, did not get a PPO, or maybe had a PPI, did not convert. But there are no worries. We have all those companies again coming to us, and still new companies who may not come to us during summer internship, but come to us during the final placement. And for this, we have to thank our alumni network, because you think of any company and we have an alumni there. And all that we need to do is tell them that, we have a batch of students who are waiting to be placed. Please come and see them. Please come and meet them, talk to them. And, our students, with whatever we do in the 2 years, and I'm sure we are doing some great work, because we really don't have to think, before our placement gets over in, sort of 15, 20 days time. Yeah. So that's all that from my side on that one, Shweta. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chandrima. And I can vouch for what you said regarding case study competitions. When I was doing my MBA, we were the national finalists of 2 competitions, and NMIMS beat us for the winner's position. So for sure, you're right about that. Dr. Naraini, if you would like to add something in regards to the placements at Bengaluru campus.
Yeah, we do boast of stellar placements. And in terms of time, that is one element I would like to add on along with Dr. Chandrima is if you notice, they graduate in the month of March. Last year, for example, NMIMS students, Bengaluru campus, they have completed the placement in the month of January. We started around September, October, and it got over by January. And there are quite a few clients, recruiters, we have to say no and pass it on to other campuses. That's the advantage of your working together. And they didn't go empty-handed. This is one of the things in terms of the placement, in terms duration, in terms of this. And how do we achieve it? As she rightly said, we have an excellent alumni network. Number one. Number two are graduates who are being recruited. Thanks to them, they work so very well. Companies wanted to come back to NMIMS. This is the second point. And the third one is our curriculum, which has been very, very closely worked with industry professionals. And thanks to Dr. Chandrima for leading all these initiatives at different points in time. Our curriculum is industry-ready graduates. And it is not only concepts, it is experiential learning, excellent pedagogy that we do. So when the companies meet the graduates, they are ready to take it up. That is the secret. Actually, I'm just putting it up where the input is good, the process is good, so output is easier for to achieve. So when we face these questions, how are you achieving placements? When we go for Business India or Business Today or Fortune India or any other ranking institutions, when they are checking our placement records, they ask, how do you manage? Then we go back to the boardroom and say, how do we manage? So this is the answer. Input, process, output. Our curriculum is very good. It's built with industry inputs. Process of pedagogy is good. Our alumni is doing fine. Tell us why we are not doing fine. Why we shouldn't be doing fine in terms of placement.
Plus, to your particular advantage, you're sitting in the startup hub of India. So to add to that as well. Dr. Siddharth, how about the IT capital?
Yeah, thank you for that again. I think two things are very clear now. After Professor Chandrima and Narayan, two things are clear. When you're choosing a name for your admission, you're choosing for the legacy, you're choosing for the brand, and you are also choosing for a best career which is waiting for you through our alumni as well through the industry. And for across the campuses, it's fact. And I once again would like to mention where you started the question. What about the 100% placement? What happens is that yes, job is there for all. There is a situation comes in final year. We once again ask them, do anyone want to opt out? You can opt out. In every bus, there are 3 to 4 candidates. They want to go for higher studies or PhD or their own startup. These are the people go for a opt out. And for any campus across the world, I think 100% doesn't exist mathematically because I come maths and engineering background. So if you are looking for a job, there is a job. This is the number 2. But one thing I'd like to mention today, which is the most important thing, the post-COVID era, we are speaking about mental health. I'll be suggesting all the students in the coming generation who are today listening to us, please don't choose your course, curriculum, program, or any book school for the highest salary. Choose it for your happiness, for your family, where you can grow. NM is a campus, I tell you, at least in Hyderabad, all others also, but as I'm representing Hyderabad, you can learn from your peer group, from your senior, from your classmates. Will not allow you to fail, and if failure comes, we'll stand with you and see that you can achieve something. That is the assurance I like to give, rather than the highest package today from this channel, from your channel, that we'll be there if anytime they fail. Me and my team and their peer group, their seniors will be there, placement team will be there to sit with them, analyze, and to help them how they can be made successful in the coming days. That is I like to make promise from Hyderabad campus.
Thank you so much, sir. I wish more campuses and more B schools did that, because like in this era where offers are being revoked or layoffs are happening, I think this is the biggest support you can get from any campus. So for
Thank
sure.
If I can just add to that,
Sure, sir.
right? So, all of us actually recently had a meeting with our Chancellor and Vice Chancellor in Mumbai, and the thing that is emphasized to us is that not just in SBM, in the MBA, but even other degree programs in other schools, only add programs if you can place the students. Please understand the importance of that. We are not interested in 100% placements only at MBA. We want placements across all our schools. Could be law or pharmacy as well. So that is the mandate given to all of us as directors by our university. It's a very clear mandate. Okay? If a student wants to opt out, of course there are other options. We give support with higher education. We give support. Entrepreneurship right now is very important. So we have a number of startup competitions. So we have one of our own in Indore happening on 20th September, by which students have to enter, and then we'll assess them after that. Then we have Chancellor's Challenge at the university level, right? So all of those avenues will be available. Furthermore, you mentioned the current state of the economy. So if somebody goes for a placement, sorry, for they're setting up their own business for an entrepreneurship venture, they don't do well in the next year, for example, the mandate from my side to my placement team is, please give them at least a couple of years in which they can decide to sit for placements. You opt out this year, come back next year after graduating. After 2 years after graduating, I'm still okay with putting you in my placement process. 5 years down the line, you're an alumni. We get a good job offer, a job, an interview offer. That company wants to recruit for some particular role. We will pass it on to our students. We've already done that for our MBAs, even our BBAs. So this is, as Dr. Siddharth said, it goes beyond the normal placements. Will I get a job? Will I get a high salary and all that? Yes, of course, that is taken for granted in the MBA world today. But it's about the holistic growth of the student beyond. And many of them want to take a risk, right? I actually had a startup a year after graduating from NMIMS. Me and a batchmate of mine, we had a startup. But we had zero support. But that is not how I want my students to go, right? I want them to know they have support for the business. But even after that, if they don't do well, they want to stop that and come back to us for placements, we will also support them in that process. So that is what it is about. It's about support far beyond their MBA. At any point in time in their career graph, later on they want to come back, they can always speak to us and we will help them from our side.
If I can add here, maybe my colleagues have already put the things perspective very well. One point is that placement is the outcome. Those are the statistics, right? But the average salary, maximum salary, minimum salary, percentage, how much. But what is behind that is the grooming of the MBA students for 2 years, the learning of the students, getting those, the students need to get prepared for that placement. The institute can place the student. They need to survive in the job. And that again is connected with how they are groomed, how they can take on the industry and all. That is where I would like to focus more on that institute and everything, our university has everything in place about placement, but don't worry too much about those things. Rather, focus more on preparing yourself, grooming yourself, having most of it about the learning ecosystem that we are having. Grab most of it and prepare yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all of you for this answer. I have just a very small query that's been coming in the chat box. If you could just confirm, there's just a small question that do all the NMIMS campuses have the hostel facility? There's a provision for them to okay, so this was just
not in Mumbai.
Okay, so
yeah, and I think that's an open secret. Space is an issue in Mumbai. We don't have a hostel. But let me tell you, surely by we being here in what we are doing in that space for so many long years, we have a wonderful ecosystem. There are plenty of houses in and around our campus who only build to convert them into PG accommodations. So stay is not an issue, definitely, even though we don't have a hostel.
Navi Mumbai, yes, you will get hostel, very good hostel facility where you'll have a wonderful stay arrangement and food also. Thank you.
Dr. Chandrima, I remember, if I'm not wrong, I think the hostels are around Ville Parle, because when I was doing my internship in Mumbai, I think I met a couple of NMIMS students there who confirmed it.
Every new building which gets demolished and new buildings come up, then we see a PG board out there. And they're definitely for our students.
Got it. Perfect. I would request all of you to share one concluding statement. If you could just share probably some words of wisdom, some suggestion for the aspiring students, I'm sure that will help them in their journey. We'll start with you, Dr. Chandrima.
Yeah, sure. So I'm sure the students who are hearing us today on a Sunday evening, as of course my colleagues mentioned, and that says that they are at a very, very demanding stage of their life, and of course there are lots to worry. So guys, first and foremost, keep your calm, do your best in your entrance exam, and I'm sure you're writing a couple of them. So it's most important as of now to focus on your entrance exams that you're writing for each institute, because I guess that's your first milestone that you have to cross. Then, when you start applying to individual institutes, I will talk about what we at NMIMS would really want you to focus if you're applying to NMIMS. I think what you should really look at doing is give some time, some time means solid quality time at writing your statement of purpose. And I think the value of authenticity is something that we have emphasized so much. So write your statement of purpose on your own. Write your story, write what you want to tell us about you, and let not that be the words or voice of anybody else, because when that comes out as authentic, you will sound authentic also during the interview. So that's number 2. That's the second milestone, writing that. Freshers, brush up your domain knowledge. I think I said that. And last, for the people who have WorkX, of course, we are going to ask you about your work-related value that you can get to us. So you have to be absolutely ready with those kind of explanations, understanding people who have a break here. You have to have a solid reason for that. And rest, I think, go with the flow. And don't stress, don't fret. Things will just fall in place. Be true to yourself and don't be harsh on yourself. This is a time which will demand a lot of your energy and good wishes to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chandrima. Dr. Shubhashish, would you like to go ahead with this question?
Sure. See, all education institutions, I believe, should, apart from taking care of syllabus, placement, and all things, we also believe that we produce ethical, competent managers and leaders for the industry, for the nation, and for the society at large. So, keeping this in mind, we would be very happy to get the candidates who are going to be the ambassadors for NMIMS after passing out from here, and in that real sense, ambassadors. Their value system, their behavior, their level of competency, and continuous learning that is going to take them far. So this is what I would suggest. Few tips for my candidates who are listening is that this is wherever you take admission. These are very important things that you can add value for the university, for the institution, and that is going to stay with you also. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best.
Dr. Narayani?
To add on 2-3 points about why MBA, because Dr. Chandrima has given a full-fledged to-do list, not to-do list, and Dr. Director from NMIMS, he has briefed about how they will act as a, I talked about the brand ambassadorship of NMIMS. Let me say 1 or 2 words about some candidates who might be watching and have a dilemma about, do I need to do MBA or MTech or MS, India, abroad? What are you going to look for in NMIMS MBA program? I just want to add 1 or 2 points there. MBA program, apart from that it offers the employability, or it offers about, it's the career prospects that they look for. It is a personality building. This is an investment of 2 years in your life for overall development, which allows you to experience the learning, not only learning from the campus, but also from the peer group, the network that you built for the life ahead, the friendship that you built for the life ahead. To operate in a very ambiguous environment, the degree is going to be of, I would consider this as an investment in your life. So those who are in a dilemma or cat on the wall position, I want to offer them a glimpses of what MBA is going to give it to them as a part of their higher education decision. So the candidate should be willing to learn, relearn, and unlearn, and continue to learn in their career. I'm sure MBA will prepare them for that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Narayani. And having graduated from an MBA college, I can vouch that this is absolutely true. Like, you have to be ever learning as an MBA grad. Dr. Anshuman, what would be your words of wisdom in this regard?
Thank you. So, we've spoken about a lot of things, but of course, there can be a lot more to cover. In case students want to, find out about specific campuses, they can always reach out to us. For example, our website is NMIMS Indore. You can just Google that and you can reach there. You can, you can Google my name and contact me on LinkedIn as well. That's not a problem at all. We will be happy to answer queries. You can always go through Shweta as well in case you have specific queries. I have, an MBA, as I said, from NMIMS, and my PhD is from Ahmedabad. So there also we studied again at the MBA level as well, just to build up knowledge about what courses are there and so on. So the idea is I've almost done an MBA twice over, right? It is something which is very rigorous. In both the instances, again, psycho placements. Again, what Subhashish said is also, I would also want to emphasize, it's about having the knowledge base developed through the 2 years to take you to your ideal job. It's not just about your ideal job, please remember that, right? So again, there is a lot of effort required. What we are really looking for are individuals who in the interview, in those 15-20 minutes, show the dynamism, energy, capability to go with what is on paper. On paper is your NMAT score, on paper is your past degrees, qualifications, but does that come alive in front of us, right? So as long as you have the confidence, you're able to talk about different things in depth, you'll be fine. If we're just talking about the interview for example. right? So from that point of view, I would just like to conclude by saying that if you've made it that far, it's about presenting the best side of yourself. So please think about it in detail, who you really are, what you want to represent. It doesn't have to be your best friend's profile or a profile of somebody who's going to Ahmedabad, some other place in the past year, right? It doesn't have to be their profile, it's about you. As long as you put that forward, you always have a good chance. Remember, you make it to NMIMS in one place or here and not somewhere else, there'll always be 20 institutes you apply to. So as long as you're doing that, in 5 out of those 20 you will qualify. I cannot tell you which 5, you cannot say that either. So from my experience, that will happen. But it is about putting the best foot forward. If you get intimidated by, your profile building or past things or things like that, forget these terms. They're very nice terms, by the way. I didn't come across those from an MBA point of view before. But forget about all of that. It's about you being there and proving yourself in that room in that period of time, right? The only thing, if I had to give one advice, somebody who's trained people for that, people are not very good usually in group discussions. Okay, so if there is a group discussion out here and elsewhere, always remember it's about having a discussion. It's not about winning the competition there. You have to include everybody in the discussion and then be able to summarize what everybody said. So take the team together, which is what really the MBA and the rest of your life and your career is about. You have to take your team together. Don't be an individual, don't be a standout performer, because, frankly speaking, from our side, we don't want prima donnas who always, want to be the best and alone and who leave people behind. Because organizations are run by teams, not by individuals overall, okay? So that is all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anshuman. Dr. Siddharth?
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to be very specific at this moment before I conclude. At the one side, when you tell these are the qualities required and this is the environment, this kind of facilities will be available, there are few things, there is no time from the day one that we will be able to teach them, and I request every member watching today to make a note of it what I'm speaking next 30 seconds. Number one, we cannot teach them attitude. They should come with a positive attitude and a passion for learning and doing MBA. Next, they should have proper understanding of basic fundamentals of computers. We expect that from the day one, they are good in a basic of Excel, basic of Words, and basic of PowerPoint presentation. Because every alternate week, they will be having presentation. There will be no one to teach how to make a proper PowerPoint presentation or basic Excel. Next, people coming from non-commerce background, they must know about the basic fundamental of what is finance, what is economics, what is microeconomics, and I'll mention it here with permission of Chandrima ma'am that they should know what how a balance sheet look like. Because the trimester courses are very fast. People don't have the fundamentals, and these are the things we may not check during our test or interview. But interestingly, from day one, we expect that they will be knowing it. So welcome if they're coming from English, welcome as 60% or 50% are engineers. But this is the homework they should do for any B school, including IM. If they go abroad also with GMAT, these fundamentals are required from them. The last one is that as most of the B school tests, which is conducted, is an online test, and there is a computer-based test and multiple choice-based test. But what we expect from day one is that they will be writing from morning to evening, and the tests are also traditional pen and paper based tests. So please work on your handwriting and make the habit of what you read that you write. And please make the habit of reading newspaper, if possible, business newspaper. And I personally followed from my college days. Still, I suggest everyone competition success and employment news. If you want to know about the future, about India and our preparedness, the tradition still continues. People just clear the test and get in the campus that by a wonder magic stick, some Harry Potter will come and take you to Microsoft or Amazon. That's not going to happen. This is the basic minimum preparation. We feel that any B school grade should do it, and I suggest them to do it. And without that, they should not step into a B school. Thank you.
Thank you so much for putting it out, Dr. Siddharth. You won't believe, in my Excel course at my B school, This happened. The professor asked how many students don't know how to use Excel, and there were around 20 students who raised their hand, and those were the ones who faced so many challenges in that course. So, absolutely on point with those suggestions. I would really like to thank each and every stakeholder of NMIMS today for joining us late evening on a Sunday, as you mentioned. Thank you. I'm extremely grateful on behalf of all the students, because this was a much needed, a first of its kind, and I hope that the other B schools literally take inspiration from NMIMS and help the aspirants with the other side of the table and what happens inside of the campus as well. So thank you so much to each and every one of you for taking out your time and helping them. I would also like to sincerely apologize to the audience for my voice echo issue if it is still persisting, but I'm sure that you were not here to listen to me but to listen to them, and I hope that you took away a lot of specific points as well as inputs on how to prepare for your profile as well as interviews. So thank you so much to each and every one of you. Especially thank you to all of you for helping them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shweta, for having us here.
Thank you so much, guys, and have a good night.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.